We are in the thriving generation. I think we need to call that out. We love to complain that we can't be homeowners, and we post about it from our $1,500 smartphones in our air-conditioned apartments. You know, people making six figures, a third of them live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And you're going, if I made six figures, I would never. Listen, lifestyle creep is real. It's not all your fault, but it's your responsibility.
What's holding them back from going, if George can do it, I can do it?
What I find is that the Ramsey plan, the one that I followed to go from broke to millionaire, is often, it seems too simple. Being faithful in what was in front of me was a key to getting to what was next. Time plus effort is undervalued in today's society.
What do you say to people who are going, okay, I get it, but I just feel like I can't wait or it's too late for me? I appreciate this, George, but I've already gone out and blown it.
Well, number one, there's hope for you yet. Number two, it's not too late. And number three, it's always going to take longer than you think, and it's going to be so much more difficult than you think, and the path will never be a straight line.
Right.
You'll always end up there and go, that was amazing. It strengthens you, and it makes it to where there's nothing that can stop you.
Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Interest rates on credit card debt, all-time high. Student loan debt in the trillions of dollars and continuing. The financial system is broken, but worse, people are broke. They don't believe that they can live on less than $100,000. The system has got everybody confused, and it's time something changed. So that's why I asked my good friend George Kamel to come in and talk about the traps and the trends that keep people broke. You're going to love this. Here is our conversation. So do you think that there's any generational change in the way people view money? So let's just, in our conscience, you've got the greatest generation, right? You've got boomers, our parents. I'm an Xer, you're a millennial. Now we got Gen Z. You're paying attention to money trends all the time. I'm just curious, is there that much difference between the human condition and how we play around with money, how we do it wrong, what we fall for? Or do you think there is an actual real difference now in 2023 in these younger generations of what they're falling for?
Well, every generation loves to blame the ones that came before them for all of their money problems.
Right.
And on top of that, they all think they're smarter because they go, I'm not falling for what the boomers fell for.
Right.
I'm going to fall for buy now, pay later,
right?
Or student loans or whatever it is.
But
and so there's a lot of animosity between the generations.
But buy now, pay later is not new. We just called it layaway when we were kids.
Exactly. And you had to wait until you paid to get the item.
Yes.
Nowadays, you get it now.
Oh, so that you're right. Okay.
We're a very convenience
same
culture.
Concept.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. I just need it now.
Well, what's the difference with the younger generations is there's no patience because we grew up in a world where it was everything all the time, 24/7, instantly, or it didn't happen.
Right.
I grew up with, Prime 2-day shipping.
Right.
And so in that world, we can't wait 10 years to go buy a house.
Right.
If we can't do it next year, we feel like failures. While the boomers tell us, you got to get a house, you got to get a house, when they got their house for $30,000 back in the 70s and 80s.
You know my kids. You're affectionately known as Uncle George.
Means a lot.
You've seen them grow up. I need your hot take because I'm rolling my eyes on this one. It's irritating me.
Okay.
But I'm telling Stacy, let it play out. They're going to have to learn the hard way. This is it. Josie, my youngest, and Chase, my middle son, they are both now using DoorDash for, well, I don't want what you and Mom are making for dinner tonight.
And they're getting on their phones and just going, I'm going to DoorDash it?
They're threatening to do it.
They don't have money, do they?
She does. They do.
Wow.
They're not using my money for this because I can put a stop to that.
Yeah.
But the other day, Josie still in her sweetness asked for permission. Can I DoorDash something from Starbucks?
Oh, my goodness. Josie, you're too smart for that.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Well, first of all.
It's her money.
Yeah.
This is her take.
She can do what she wants with it.
And so Stacey's like, stop that. I go, it's her money. I want her to learn that convenience will crush your bank account if you're not careful. But this is the new world we live in. I'm just bringing this up to you. These are teens going, I'm not even going to go to Starbucks anymore. I'm just going to DoorDash it. What say you?
Well,
is this a trap or can it be managed?
It's a trap for those that don't have the money to do it, which is most Americans. Now, some people do it occasionally for the convenience. I have the money to do it, and it physically pains me anytime I use it because of how much of a scam it is. Number one,
Yes.
they raised the prices.
Of
so if you went to
course.
Starbucks, the latte's $6.
Right.
You get it through DoorDash, it's $7.
Right.
Then there's the $2.99 delivery fee, and then you got to tip. Don't be a jerk. You know.
I know.
Don't they think? Well, I'm not going to tip the driver. It'll be
Right.
fine. That poor soul's out here trying to pay off some debt or whatever, doing their side hustle, and they deserve a tip for doing
Right.
the most for
Right.
you, so you
Right.
could have your precious latte. So on top of that, there's all kinds of different fees. But it's one of the greatest ripoffs because what happens is you get a $7 burrito bowl that you end up paying $20 for.
Right.
And you do that time and time again. You wake up and you spend $1,000 on eating out.
We have to cut this, and I have to play this
very
on the
frustrating.
TV in the living room. I'm going to sit all the kids around.
Josie,
and I'm gonna
listen,
say,
I love you
"Listen,
and I want better for you. And
Yeah.
I know you're not using debt to do it, which is adding more insult to injury.
She's
you got
not.
a credit card connected
but
to
it's
DoorDash.
still silly." And, kids don't listen to their parents, but they'll
You
listen
should
to somebody
teach her
else.
how to make a great latte at home. That could be a great bonding experience.
What's that going to set me back? Because you're somebody that I really go to for the finer things that are in the range of coffee,
There's a budget version.
saving money
Yeah.
hacks. What is a latte machine going to set me back?
I would go, if I was you, I'm not you, but if I was you, I would
I
go
like
for
where
like
this
a
is going.
$99 Nespresso machine.
Okay. All right.
You get the pods for about $1 a piece.
Okay.
You just hit a button, the espresso is made,
Uh-huh.
and then you get a little hand frother. She
Uh-huh.
can get her milk of choice, her little sweeteners, pump,
Uh-huh.
the syrup pumps that she likes.
Yeah.
And you can show her how to do it at home for a fraction of the cost. I'm talking
Yeah.
maybe a fifth of the cost.
Oh, no, I get that. But see, this is leading me to what I want to talk to you about next. It's not about cost to these kids. To your point, their whole life has been unbelievably convenient.
Oh, absolutely. We are in the thriving generation. I think we need to call that out. We love to complain that we can't be homeowners, and we post about it from our $1,500 smartphones in our air-conditioned apartments. So there's a problem here where I'm seeing a lot of videos comparing life as it was in the 1930s and how much cheaper things were. And I'm going, do you know what life was like during the Great Depression? How are you comparing your life here where you have access to so much opportunity, to so much, this whole gig economy that exists now that didn't exist even 10, 15 years ago, and yet we're sitting there blaming everything else for our problems instead of just going out and controlling what we can control. The
Yeah.
guy in the mirror, the gal in the mirror.
Right. It is literally, it's like the conditions are so tough on me, I can't, so I won't make any changes in my life. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
It's just pure cynicism.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm pulling a great audible. Okay.
Is that a sports reference?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
Here's
didn't
what I'm gonna
understand. I know
do.
Audible is the audiobook.
Right. This is gonna be great. Okay. So now here's what you're about to see. This is a guy, and I'm gonna give you the premise. The whole video title is $100,000 salary is the new middle class.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I know. It's a horrible take, and we're going to destroy it.
I'm here for it.
I'll let you go first because I want you to challenge what he does in the video. This is so up your
They
alley.
call me George
In
the
fact,
Destroyer Camel.
The new middle class. I was looking at the numbers of our bills, and even when we pay off our mortgage, our basic necessities is going to be $3,500 a month. Let's break this down. So even if our house is paid off, we still have $1,000 a month for our house payment because we have property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA, electric, water, ADT, internet. So it's $1,000. Our health insurance and car insurance is about $800 a month. Our groceries are $1,200 a month for me and my wife. We spend about $100 every 3 days, and that it does include paper towel, trash bags, etc. But everything at Publix, $1,200 a month. We've got gas for $150. We have a cell phone for $150. We have a senior dog, Benji, that we take good care of. He's $200 a month, and we also have $100 for services like Netflix, Hulu, Dropbox, Zoom, things like that. So it's $3,500 a month. This is with no car payment, no debt, no student loans, no house payment. It's still $42,000 a year after taxes just to have this. And that doesn't include savings, investing, traveling, gifts, hobbies, date night, anything like that. So we would need, even with our house paid off, in my opinion, about $100,000 to feel like the new middle class or upper middle class. So this just shows you how much the cost of living is skyrocketing.
All right.
A lot going on there.
I feel like this plays right into what you just said. That
Yes, I've seen
everybody's
his
a victim.
videos.
These numbers are not realistic.
No. Well, and the fact that he was like, well, we go to Publix as if it's the only grocery store. you can buy groceries from.
That.
And it's also known to be one of the more expensive grocery stores.
But don't we think that $1,200 a month for 2 people is a bit much?
That's a lot.
$100 every 3 days?
I mean, I imagine there's a lot
That's
of...
absurd.
What he didn't mention, there's probably a lot of eating out happening. There's probably a lot of money leaks.
Of course he doesn't mention several things.
$100 in subscriptions. Does he need all of the subscriptions? Probably not. And again, this is a thriving generation. We have access to all of these subscriptions.
Yeah.
And, he's inflating the whole, I don't have a house payment, it's going to be $1,000 still.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of baloney there.
Okay, so let's push into this a little bit further, because this is the kind of stuff, this thing is a very popular video.
And by the way, all of his videos are just this. They're just meant to rile people up.
100%.
Zero solution.
Right.
Just going, don't things suck? Thanks, like and subscribe for more financial advice.
Right, yes.
Thanks, buddy.
Yes, for more doomsday and despairing content, click on my video. And here's what this does. This creates class warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you say things like $100,000 salary is the new middle class, this stuff is not innocent.
Well, first of all, he added that all up. It was $40,000.
Yeah, so that's what I want to go
That's
to.
not $100,000.
I know. So let's talk about that, because you coach a lot of people all the time on the Ramsey Show and in person, all right? Somebody comes to you and goes, all right, George, I make $100K gross. And I'm saying that's just, I have $3,500 a month in base needs. There's a lot of margin there. Wouldn't you say that to somebody?
Yeah, I mean, even after taxes, let's factor that out. Let's call it $80,000.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still talking over $6,000 a month.
That's right. So if a $3,500, let's take his video, $3,500 is what he says his base needs are. All right. And now let's say his net, his take home is, what did you say, 65?
Well, a net from 100,000?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 80. I think it's
Right.
closer to 80.
Right.
So $6,500 a month, let's say.
That's what I'm saying.
Is
So
his
he's got
net
$3,000
to cover
overage
some investing,
based on his video.
rent, all of those things.
Well, remember, he didn't have his paper towels and toilet paper, and the way they spend on groceries, good Lord, I
Apparently,
can't imagine what they spend on toilet
I
paper.
go about once every 2 months, and I do a Costco run to get my TP and paper towels.
Yeah, and you do that. You're big on the Kirkland brand.
Love the Kirkland brand. And
How
again,
much is that going to save?
I'm shopping smarter. You're going to save $5 easily on the pack right there, just by going with a generic brand, not going to Publix for your paper towels like an insane person.
All right, so let's bring this full circle. How absurd is the statement that a $100,000 salary is the new watermark for middle class?
Well, here's where he's right. If you're drowning in payments, you'll never have enough.
Right.
If you have the average car payment, which is over $700, you got the average student loan payment over $400. You're drowning in credit card debt, which could easily be $100, $200, $300 for the minimum payment. You start to add all of this up on top of a mortgage that you weren't ready for,
right?
Because you said, well, I'm paying $2,000 in rent. Why not pay $2,000 for the mortgage?
Right.
Except it's not apples to apples. Home ownership has a lot more expenses built in that make it wildly expensive. So when you add in all that, all of a sudden you go, $100,000 is not enough. And we see the stats.
Yeah.
People making six figures, a third of them live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And you're going, if I made six figures, I would never. Listen, lifestyle creep is real, because guess what? You have to play the part of the six-figure salary.
All right, so let's go right to this younger generation. So we got Gen Z. Certainly millennials are in this discussion. Let's take Gen Z. So
no one's innocent in this picture.
Nobody.
There's no, this generation has figured it out. There's sucks and awesome across the board.
Of course, but let's just talk about what advice you give them. You've got every college senior in America sitting in a room, and they're going, I have to make $100,000 coming out of school. We know this is true in data. A lot of them are expecting to make somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000, and they think they've got to make that to actually have a shot at surviving. What are you going to do in a seminar when you walk them through what their expectations should be? Not on salary, but on expectations of what living costs should be. What are you going to walk them through? Just a basic fundamental plan to kind of give them the right perspective.
Number one, I would tell them it's not all your fault, but it's your responsibility. So many of us have just fallen into this path that we were led down by guidance counselors and parents and college marketing, to where we went, get good grades, go to the school of your dreams to get the job of your dreams at all costs.
Yeah.
And what that meant was take out as many student loans as you need. You got to have a nice, reliable car, so you got to get a new car on payments.
Yeah.
And you got to have your credit card to build your credit score. And whoops, couldn't pay the monthly balance in full. And so all of this starts stacking up to where we can't breathe anymore, and we go into adulthood wondering, is this it? Because this American dream sure feels like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so I would tell them, we've got to temper our expectations, and once you graduate, you're not going to have the $100,000 job, and you might need to pull some side hustles just to get rid of the debt, to get to some financial foundation where you have no debt and an emergency fund. And that's what we've been teaching for 30 years, but they're not, if they can grasp it early on when they're in college, their adulthood, it's going to hockey stick.
Yeah. And you've done this.
Yeah, I lived it out. I mean, I had student loans.
So
I had the credit cards.
Let's walk through your quick timeline.
Yeah.
So you graduate from college. How much debt did you have?
This was 2012. I graduated with 36 grand in student loan debt, and then I accumulated about 4 grand in credit card debt.
And your first job was at?
Full-time salary job was here at Ramsey Solutions.
That's right.
Back in 2013.
What were you making?
That was probably in the upper 30s. That was my
30s.
start. And that was after I did an internship that was like part-time, hourly wage, got a full-time gig later on, probably making 37 or 40.
Were you married at that point?
No.
So single income. How tight was it?
Oh, my goodness. Well, what I didn't realize was what student loan payments would actually amount to in my monthly budget.
Yeah.
So I get here, I make a budget for the first time after going through Financial Peace University, and I went, okay, my credit card bills, I didn't have a car payment, my student loan payment on top of rent. I had a roommate.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's
so that
good.
helped, but it still felt tight. I couldn't do a lot of investing. I needed to get out of debt to free up, $500-600 worth of payments I was making.
Were you naturally, or from your upbringing, because you have awesome parents, were you naturally on the frugal side, and so you were able to make it work, or were you paycheck to paycheck, or were you in a negative balance at that point? So first job, only making $36,000. What was your situation?
Well, at that point, there was no margin, and I was playing the credit card game because I thought, if I can get the cash back, this makes it all worth it. And I grew up in a family that was very frugal. My family's Middle Eastern. They fell for some of the American money traps when they immigrated here, but we were just middle class. We weren't struggling. We weren't, thriving with tons of wealth. And, I mean, I would have gotten student loan debt if we had the money to pay for it.
So were you making up for some of the living expenses on the credit card, a little bit here, a little bit there?
Yeah, and a little bit of lifestyle. You graduate college, you get the big boy job. You want to go out. You want to have a good time with your friends. And so that was part of it, is kind of covering the lifestyle on the credit card and buying, music gear or whatever it was at the time, my hobbies. And I didn't have the money I didn't have the fortitude to just save up and pay cash for things. That wasn't a concept or muscle that I had really built.
All right, so that was, let's call it 11 years ago, where we're at in the story.
Yeah.
What's your net worth now?
Probably our household net worth between my wife and I is about $1.3 million.
Okay. You did that in 11 years? Did you launch a course? Did you go zero money down on real estate?
I am a W-2 employee. I'm not an entrepreneur guy who leveraged an Airbnb thing while starting a laundromat business. I just used my salary, my greatest wealth building tool, my income. Once I got out of debt.
That's what I want people to hear. How many promotions, or let's just say how many different gigs at Ramsey Solutions did you have until you got to the point where you are now?
This is probably my 6th job here at Ramsey Solutions in 11 years. I was not a person. I didn't start out in a front-facing role.
No, not at all.
I was behind the scenes doing social media and email marketing and all.
So the key was what? How did you get there? How in the world? Because you weren't making crazy money. You're making good money now, but you were not making big money. How did you do it in 11 years? How do you get that net worth? Obviously, you married some with Whitney. She's awesome. But you did this. I mean, you paid off all your debt. I mean, you guys paid cash for a house. How'd you do it?
Well, the first part was realizing that debt was a thief. And so getting out of debt using that debt snowball method was huge, because that got me to a baseline where you have a positive net worth when you don't have any debt. And you've got a little bit of money in the bank. So I get the emergency fund, I pay off the debt, I began investing into our Roth 401k here at Ramsey. And then I just continued that 15% every single month for years and years.
That adds up.
While getting promotions over time, which means that 15%, that slice of the pie grows as well. And I had a townhome previous to being married to Whitney, sold that, had a little bit of equity from that, got married to Whitney. Bless her, she's smarter than me and better looking. She had no debt. So we start off our marriage with a pile of money in the bank and savings, no debt, and we decided, what if we got crazy and saved up a huge down payment on a very modest townhome and went hard at it to pay it off in our early 30s. So that was a piece of the puzzle.
So repeat those stats. Over 11 years, you paid off how much in debt? You were able to amass how much in investments?
So over that period of time, let's see, 15% over, and Whitney has had a job here at Ramsey for the last, 8 years. I've been here over 10 years. So over that time, we each now have 6 figures in our investments here in our 401k. We're not doing anything fancy. Now, no single stocks.
That's what I want people to hear.
Just the 4 diverse mutual funds that we teach here at Ramsey. I probably have over $300,000 in my 401k. She's got over $100,000. And between that, plus a paid-for house, plus, 2 very modest vehicles,
Right.
and our savings in the bank,
Right.
it adds up to $1.3 million.
Yeah.
Which is
By the
crazy.
way, for people that are new to you that are young, you've got a really awesome Tesla, but it's how old?
10 years old.
10 years old. But it doesn't look 10 years old. And I'm not a fan of electric vehicles. Be the first one to say. I like old school cars, and I just like. But it's a
You
great
love that
looking
revving
car.
engine.
I do. But I love the way your car looks.
Thank you.
So you've got all these trappings of success.
Yeah.
You're how old?
I'm now 34.
34.
A ripe age of 34.
So I guess my point is in asking you all this is a lot of people, young people, that are, let's say they're 24, 22, 23, 24.
34 is ancient to them.
You are ancient to them, but they're on YouTube, they're watching you, you've had tremendous success. You understand what this journey is like. You're not an old Xer like me. You're a millennial who helps and connects with a lot of Gen Z. What is it that they don't see in this story that they keep going, I just don't know, I don't know? What's holding them back from going, if George can do it, I can do it?
What I find is that the Ramsey plan, the one that I followed to go from broke to millionaire, is often, it seems too simple. They have to find something more complex, more complicated.
Is it too slow?
Something trendier, something faster, because they, in their mind, 10 years is like, I'll be retired 10 years from now. I can't wait 10 years to amass any level of wealth.
Right.
So instead, I'm going to be the hare instead of the tortoise, find every shortcut I can, be distracted by all of the traps and noise out there on TikTok and Instagram of people telling me there's no hope, you have to arbitrage some debt and leverage this real estate in order to have any amount of wealth before the boomers steal it all. And that mentality is leaving people broke for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
When I cut up my credit cards and I ditched debt, I built wealth so much faster than when I was trying to play this game built by a debt industry,
Right.
leaving me in a rat maze.
Right. You're one of the nicest people I know. I can't imagine what you look like when you're angry or sound like. So
I can get persnickety.
okay, I would like to.
I can't yell.
Can we channel some of your persnickety? Are
Yeah.
you able to pull it up upon demand?
On command. I haven't tried.
All right, we're going to try it.
All right.
And I'm serious now. Because you give great talks all over the country talking about the traps and the trends. So in that traps and trends thing that gets you, what makes you persnickety, dare I say angry right now? And I'm saying this, you're not mad at young people. You're not mad at people in general. That's not what I'm talking about. But what makes you mad on behalf of people when it comes to traps and trends? What, like, when you think about it, and I see you pursing your lips right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think I might get some real persnickety-ness, if that's a word.
Yeah.
What makes you upset right now?
Well, I channel this in my new book, Breaking Free from Broke, because the first 2/3 are me railing against this debt system.
All right. Rail away.
So here's
Hot
the thing.
topics, go.
Here's what I think. The wool has been pulled over the eyes of these younger generations to where they think these debt companies are their friend,
Right.
that they're going to beat the system, that they're smarter than these, huge conglomerate corporations sponsoring the Taylor Swift tour, and they
Right.
think they're winning when they get 2% cash back.
Right.
And they're arbitraging their debt. They're saying, I'm not going to pay off my debt, Ken. What if I invest this and I can make more money here?
Yeah.
And they're playing these games that are really rooted in fear, greed, and pride, which I
Right.
call the three stooges of wealth building.
Right. I like that.
That's at the root of it, is they think they're smarter, they're scared,
Yeah.
and so they're in a corner. They feel they're backed into a corner, so
Yeah.
I've got to do something drastic and shortcutty in order
Yeah.
to make it. And there's greed, where they just go, I want $5 million tomorrow. And we had that call on the show. This 18-year-old, he said, how do I turn $100,000 into $1 million? And we posted this on TikTok. It got like 20 million views, and people are messaging me going, I want to be like that guy. And I went, he doesn't even have $100,000. We dig into the call. It's all hypothetical. And he went, I need to turn 100,000 into $1 million 6 years from now.
Right.
And the question I asked, and you'll love this, was, why? If you just keep asking why, what you'll get to is the scared toddler inside all of us.
Right.
That's throwing a fit, that thinks they'll never get ahead with money.
Right.
And I'm just so sick of the hope stealers throwing noise into the mix, telling them that they need to do crazy things that are leveraging risk in order to get ahead. And it drives me crazy because our plan is so simple and it works every time. Get out of debt, stay out of debt, live on less than you make, invest for the future consistently in things that are diversified with less risk, and you're going to be fine.
It feels like the reason the Ramsey plan just doesn't seem appealing is because it takes time and patience. Those are, one is just a calendar issue. The other is an attitude. I'm going to have to be okay with time. And it feels like everything's a cheat code. I know you don't know what Madden is, but it's a football game. It's a video game.
I think I had one of those on
Did you?
PlayStation back in the day.
I remember when the cheat code first came out where you didn't have to like do a certain amount of things. You could just go get the best players.
Just A-B start, and it was a cheat code.
And I just feel like that's what's going on with all the commercials and all of the financial products and credit cards. It's giving people a cheat code, and they just feel like
it's buy
there's
my
no
course, Ken.
consequences.
There's the cheat code. Buy my real estate course, and I'll show you how I got rich from.
Right.
It's all of that.
Do you think that younger generations aren't aware of the consequences, or they think there are no consequences? What do you think?
They get so starry-eyed by the potential of what could be that their risk meter is immediately shut down.
Right.
And there's no convincing them at that point other than having to get to some rock bottom moment where they lose a bunch of money and get their butts handed to them and touch the hot stove for them to finally find our plan and go, that sounds appealing. A life of peace and freedom and margin and options and joy instead of this life of constantly chasing for more. And I've talked to some of these financial influencers out there, Ken. They've got $10 million, $20 million, and it's never enough. They're not at peace.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here with my little pile of money, which is a lot to a lot of people. And they go, why are you so peaceful? And I go, well, I'm not chasing more. I'm content with where I'm at.
Yeah.
I have a vision for where I'm going.
Right.
I'm confident I'll get there. And I sleep easy at night.
Yeah. All right. Besides buy now, pay later, which you've told me some crazy stuff, like you can get a 6-pack of Coke or something at Walmart or whatever it is.
Put it on payments.
All right, what else really irritates you? A trap or a trend right now where you railed on it in the book. Give me a couple other fun things. I want to see you get angry.
I did a whole chapter on investing traps, and Ken, it was the longest chapter in the book.
Okay, give me one of these.
It just kept going.
Give me one of these investing traps that really upsets you.
Gold is coming back. It's making a comeback now because of all the fear in the economy. They're going, well, gold's going to be our savior.
Yeah.
Except if the whole thing comes down, we go full I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Who's going to be trying to trade Ken for his gold?
Yeah, well,
you got fuel, you got ammo, you got food and water.
I love this. Like if I've got a briefcase full of gold bullion, which I just love saying that.
Bullion.
I'm bullion. I don't even know what that is. Let's say I got a case of gold bars, and it's like it's I Am Legend, as you said.
You might as well just keep cash in a week's savings account.
What
at
are you
that point.
trading for?
Nothing.
What's the gold get you?
Well, it's supposed to be a hedge against inflation. That's what it is. A hedge against inflation.
All right, so you don't
Ken.
like the gold one. What's another one?
Not a fan of gold. Luckily, NFTs have completely died, but these non-fungible tokens where it was just a link that points to some treasure map.
Okay, now we've gotten somewhere.
From grifters.
Our dear friend Gary V.
Oh, yeah.
He's not actually a friend, and if he wasn't a dear friend.
I mean,
but I've interviewed
We've had him at events.
I've hung out with him.
I think he's a good guy.
I just hate when people say that, so I actually called myself out on that.
Yeah.
The guy went all in on NFTs.
Well, here's the thing. The people
Where's he at now?
Who are saying NFTs are amazing were the ones selling them.
Of course. He's a hype machine.
Exactly.
So where's he at on NFTs? Has he eaten crow? Has he...
Well, he made good money, but the people who bought those NFTs from Gary are probably going, oh, crap, I bought it for $200 and now it's worth $0.
Right. So investing in digital art.
Don't even call it investing. It's speculation. It's betting. Same thing with crypto.
All right. Yeah. What do you think comes out of crypto now where the big guy, Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever his name is, the guy's convicted. He's going to jail. What happens next with cryptocurrency in general, digital currency?
I think it's going to be around for a long time. It will probably eventually be regulated, just like other forms of currency.
I would suggest to you.
And it will lose its star power.
It will, but I think it will be viable, but only after it's regulated.
Agreed. And I still think you're going to be better off in the stock market with an S&P 500 fund and a mutual fund.
All right. Give me something else you rail on.
Oh, gosh. Whole life insurance is the new one, Ken. Have you heard about infinite banking?
Infinite banking.
It's this wild scheme.
That's what they're calling it.
Yeah. Permanent life insurance salesmen pitch this as this tax-free retirement plan where if you give me really high commissions and fees, that's the part they don't say. I'm putting words in their mouth.
Right.
For this terrible life insurance plan, you can use the savings account and you could borrow money from yourself with interest to then do infinite banking, and it's tax-free. It sounds as stupid as it is, and that's about as simple as it gets.
Right. Well, but here's what, it's got all these, it's got a little misdirection in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, people love the idea of tax-free, and I'm going, have you heard of a Roth account?
Right. Well, here's the deal. Why would you borrow from yourself?
Well, because
does that make any sense at all?
You become your own bank, Ken.
I know.
It's a genius scheme.
But it's just stupid.
While you're paying huge commissions and fees, why do you think these life insurance folks are pushing whole life and permanent insurance instead of term life insurance?
Well,
because they make way more money.
All right, so let's dive into this. Why does the sales pitch work? Because they're making lots of money on people.
Fear, greed, pride.
All right, but
That's
break it down. But let's actually go X's and O's here.
Okay.
All right. So the pitch for whole life is it's going to do.
You have the insurance portion, the death benefit, and then there's this cash savings account attached to it, which there's a lot of different forms of it. You can invest it. It can be tied to a stock market index, all kinds of things. So the idea is this cash account piece can grow, and this is sort of the hack.
Right.
Is I can use this account. This is what the wealthy do, except I've never met a single wealthy person who said, oh, yeah, man, that whole life insurance was my ticket.
Right.
That's how I did it.
But how is that any different than a high-yield savings account, which Stacey and I have, and we have a lot of money parked into that high-yield savings account?
Well, the difference is it's not tax-free, Ken. The money you make becomes taxable income, and that's the,
Do you see my point, though? That's the pitch.
Yeah.
So this is a sales technique that lulls you into going, this is a good move. That's my point. How is it not? So you break that down. So you got to be able to walk through that. What are the questions people should be asking as they are constantly bombarded with these traps?
As they're usually being peddled on social media. So always ask yourself, who is this person? What is the ulterior motive? What is their vested interest in them pushing this exact product? And when you go to their profile, Ken, here's what they call themselves: wealth strategist, tax-free retirement expert. Those are red flags. If you see that, run far and run fast.
All right, I want to switch gears to the professional side of the journey, which has allowed you to make more money and then using your very disciplined tortoise-style pace, get to where you are now, as we've been talking. I want you to talk about your professional journey. How'd you move up? Because I think young people are very prone to job hopping as opposed to job climbing, And what I mean by that is you were patient. You were very purposeful in what you were trying to do. And I got to watch it. I got to be a part of it.
You were a great mentor for me.
I want people to hear your journey. How'd you do it professionally?
Well, first of all, it's something that's good to remember is that I never asked for a raise. I never walked in and was like, hey, I feel like I should get paid more. Instead, what I did was excel in whatever opportunity was in front of me. So I was an email marketing coordinator. That was my first full-time position for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I just sort of stumbled into it. It wasn't the end game.
Right.
I just thought, this is something I'm capable of doing. I have the skill set, I have some experience in this.
Right.
And I convinced them. I got a foot in the door and went, I could do this.
Right.
Let me on full time. And so being faithful in what was in front of me was a key to getting to what was next. And many people forget that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have quiet quitting happening where people are going, I'm just going to phone it in because who cares? And I have a toxic boss and nothing matters. Yeah. How do you think you're ever going to grow?
Right.
And also, you're drinking your own poison by living like that.
Right. Did you at this point have an eye on a public role? Because I know you're a musician. You're a very good musician. At this point, did you have any musings or any wonderings at this point about maybe a public role at Ramsey or somewhere else?
No. I truly never thought it was possible.
Okay, I was just curious because it's going to make sense.
It's good to know. My first role here as an intern, I was excited to do. I was doing social media for one of our personalities.
Yeah,
I was very attracted to. Wow, look at this person with something important to say, saying in a very creative way that connects with me personally and connects with millions of others.
So that's the first time maybe it's a bit of a light bulb.
Yes.
Okay.
I was attracted to that, but I didn't see myself capable or wanting, like I was aiming that. There was no strategizing when I get in the door.
Good.
8 years from now, I'm going to be a personality. That was not even in my head.
That's good. I want people to know that. So now 2.5 years as an email marketer. Let's move quickly through. Where do you go next?
Then I moved into a role, official. It was the first time there was an official role for social media for personalities, doing coordinator for that.
So you go.
That was a year for that.
All right. Then next.
Then our friend Christy Wright launched Business Boutique. I was doing a lot of email marketing, social media for her in kind of this hybrid role, but focused on that brand.
Okay.
That was another year.
Right.
And then I was sort of plucked, and you're a part of this story. I started hosting Battle of the Bands. There was an opportunity that I saw. We do this fun team building exercise where we all form cover bands and play.
Right.
So I did that for 3 years. I was in bands.
That's right.
Then I found the hosting was a little lackluster, to say the least. It was kind of like any warm body who could transition while the band set up.
We shall not mention any names.
They did what they could.
Yeah.
So I raised my hand and said, hey, I've been playing in the bands. I think there's a lot of opportunity to not only fill this in a non-awkward way, this hosting stuff, but I think we could bring something special to this and really have some fun and, have some team bonding through making fun of whatever's going on. And so they finally gave me a shot. They said, all right, you can host this year.
Yeah, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
And this is not about me, but I'm just going to put in one little color commentary. I'm paying attention. And I'm going, And I'm very critical. Good Lord, am I critical when it comes to people on stage. I can't help it.
That's true. You've been doing this for decades now.
Yeah, but even if I wouldn't, I'd probably be like, that could have been done better. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and all that to say, as a compliment to you, I'm going, George has got the chops. The guy's good. All right, so we may have a couple little run-ins and fun hallway conversations. I say something, as I recall, but you keep raising your hand. So walk us through in the next 1 minute what that journey looks like.
So my leader at the time came to me, and he said, hey, we're going to this marketing conference, but I need you to take good notes as if it's for someone else. And I went, okay. He said, because it's going to be for someone else. Because I want you to step into this role, filling in for the Ken Coleman, who is hosting our live events, doing all the MC work, hosting the video channel.
I was about ready to move into a full transition as a Ramsey personality. And so at that time, I was hosting a lot. 35 events, I think it was. That time, it was maybe 40. It was crazy. The Entree Leadership Podcast, the YouTube channel for the Dave Ramsey Show at the time. And so, boom, all of a sudden, now that becomes a possibility for you, and you attacked it.
And I had no idea. It was such a shock to me. It wasn't this like I was kind of sneaking into the – I didn't think I could just self-select and raise my hand.
Right.
Every single opportunity that I had here was not something that I I fought for and went, I believe in me. It was me just excelling what I was doing, seeking opportunities to show them what I was capable of, and having people notice that. And that takes good leadership as well. Let me call that out.
Sure.
For the leaders out there, notice that stuff.
That's
Be
right.
looking around and call it out when you see it in people, because that's empowering.
Well, the thing I want the audience to hear, certainly young people, is that you were hungry. You were like, I want a shot. And they gave you the shot. You made the most of it. And so then you're hosting. You literally step into the role that I was in.
Yeah.
And then how much longer before now the opportunity comes for you to step up to the big leagues in the sense of now you are going to be a content provider?
Yeah. That was a big shift. I did the hosting role for 4 years.
4 years.
I was hosting all of our live events. I was hosting the Ramsey Show video channel during the breaks. I then went, hey, I think we could do a narrative podcast. I've got this idea for the student loan thing called Borrowed Future.
Right.
So I spearheaded that podcast, hosted that podcast.
By the way, that was a great success.
Yeah, it was amazing
really
to see the feedback from that. And I felt something different hit where I went, I can not only carry something, but I can bring something to it of my own.
Yeah.
So from there it was, we have the Ramsey education curriculum. We want you to be the host. And I brought everything I could to that to make it connect with the students watching, to bring humor to that, bring life to that. Then it was, hey, let's do the fine print, which was my first foray into my own narrative podcast series. And by the start of fine print, I had been knighted personality because they had seen me live out the plan.
That's right.
Seen me go, he believes in this stuff so much, he's naturally trying to tell people about it, naturally finding what creative ways to deliver this content. We see something in him to where he can take this next step. And so that was 2019 or 2021.
Was it?
It was 2021 where I stepped into a full-blown personality role.
I thought it was sooner than that.
It felt sooner, but yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So I was.
You were on the edges.
It wasn't this like 6 months in a row and I jumped ship. It was a long time focused on one thing and getting a little bit more rope as time went on.
I want to give you the final word on this. So your financial journey and your professional journey, very similar in that you were intentional while being patient. Both took time, but both yielded great success. What do you say to people who are going, okay, I get it, but I just feel like I can't wait or it's too late for me? I appreciate this, George, but I've already gone out and blown it. I've already gone out and racked up a bunch of debt. I went and got a degree that I can't use, whatever. They're just frustrated. They think it makes sense, but they don't think it's possible for them. What do you tell them?
Well, number one, there's hope for you yet. Number two, it's not too late. And number three, it's always going to take longer than you think, and it's going to be so much more difficult than you think, and the path will never be a straight line.
Right.
You'll always end up there and go, that was amazing. To where, now I'm a person of faith, so I truly believe like that was God's hand on me going like, you're too dumb to figure this out for yourself, but let me guide you in a way where you just look back and say, that couldn't have been all George.
Right.
Because he's not capable with his own strength. And so that was a huge part of it. But for so many people, because let me be clear, I've had my frustrations.
Sure.
Even here in different roles, and that people not seeing something in me and me wanting to fight for it. And
I know.
Sometimes I haven't approached it in the best way.
Well, there was that awkward moment where I found a voodoo doll of me in your desk drawer, and boy, we had to work through
Ken.
that. That was tough.
That was a dark time
Boy,
for
that
me.
was a dark moment. I kid.
Sure, but
I mean, it is frustrating.
I don't want people
Here's
to
the
think it was
question.
all roses and gumdrops.
Is it worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
Financially?
Absolutely.
Is it worth it professionally?
I wouldn't change a thing. Through all the struggle, and you know this because you've had similar frustrations in your career journey.
Yeah.
It strengthens you, and it makes it to where there's nothing that can stop you because of how much had to be overcome. Nothing was just handed to us on a silver platter. There was so much that we had to fight for behind the scenes, things we had to do behind closed doors, skills, experiences, training, being coachable, being able to grow and look at yourself with self-awareness and go, yeah, I can see that. Here's my pitfalls. Here's where I'm going to grow. And then time.
Yeah.
Time plus effort is undervalued in today's society.
Yeah.
And so I think if everyone can just go, hey, it's going to take a little longer. Hang on.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Hang on. It may be another year or two, and it might be a little more slog, a little more side hustle, but you're going to get to where you want to go. But the key is, if you give up, you lost your shot.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, it's been fun to watch your rise, and you're crushing it on all the socials. You're going to do so much to help so many people. The new book is absolutely fantastic, Breaking Free from Broke. You'll appreciate this. This is the David Letterman moment. Remember, he used to do that.
What an honor.
With the bad cuticle over the book, Just a little fun reference for you.
Sharpened up those nails.
He could have. I mean, for heaven's sakes, would it have killed him to get a little touch-up right before the show? But you've done an incredible job of staying focused, being faithful to what it is that you want to accomplish personally, financially, and professionally. And I've been able to watch that, and I'm proud to know you, proud to say that I'm your friend, and I think you're going to continue to help so many people because you've actually lived it. So many people in the financial space are just gaming the system. They got good videos, they're catchy, they got all kinds of little formulas that bring people in like, moth to a flame. But you actually have done it. You're the real deal, and I'm so, so happy that you came on the show. It's taken forever, but you're here, and a lot of people are going to be helped by this, so thanks, pal.
I appreciate it, man. It's an honor to be with you on your show, and you've been such an incredible mentor to me behind the scenes, things people will never know, the conversations you had, the way you've encouraged me. So you mean a lot to me as well.
I appreciate that. One thing I need to confess, that while I am that older friend and whatever to George, I'm deeply jealous of his beard.
No one's ever said that.
Well, I needed to finally confess it. If I tried to grow a beard, I'd look like a dog with mange. And
that's a visual I can't get out of my head.
Yeah, I thought it would be appropriate to end on that very positive.
That means a lot. Well, you've been a fashion icon for me as well. So we're both jealous of each other.
We actually hang out together every other Friday night, and we just sit and talk in our bomber jackets. That's all we do. We just put on these fun little jackets, and it's a bromance.
Little jackets is key there.
There it is.
Thanks, Ken.
George's new book is available for pre-sale. Here it is, Breaking Free from Broke, the ultimate guide to more money and less stress. And I know that that's an appealing outcome for so many people. So get it right now at RamseySolutions.com. You can pre-order it. And hey, if you enjoyed this conversation and enjoy this channel, will you help us by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing? We'll be back soon.